them their own. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Long Distance Pizza Party Podcast, episode 15. With me today, I have Strange and Crad. We don't know where Silly's at. He could be traveling.
Yeah.
We don't know what he's doing. And this episode, this episode is, I'm just probably going to tell you, we don't know what we're doing. Because we really didn't nail down a topic for this week like we usually do. Usually a couple days before, I sent out a message saying, hey, what should we talk about? And then I forgot because I got busy at work. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to send a message. And then I had to go get a new phone charger because my phone died and because my charger stopped working. So
But that's before we started recording, though, Nathan and I started getting into a rant about the new Avatar series on Netflix. So
oh my gosh,
jump back into that.
we could talk about adaptations because there are some good adaptations and there are horrible adaptations. Like the other time they did Avatar.
Oh yeah, that
is the worst thing I have ever seen. Yeah, thanks, M. Night Shyamalan.
I would say Aragon might have beat it for me more so, but I don't know. It was a close tie.
Was that the dragon movie with Sean Connery?
No, I don't think.
What am I thinking of?
There. That was, but it was adaptation from the book. It wasn't an adaptation from like another series or anything. But I was so mad at that movie.
There are some like good adaptations, like recently the One Piece live action adaptation. I think it's pretty good. Having not had much context for One Piece, I like it. I know some people had complaints about where it went and what they adapted, and people are like, "Hey, I really like it." But there are, even like comic book adaptations. There are horrible comic book adaptations, like The Spirit, which is not good because they had Frank Miller write it, and he didn't understand the spirit. But
I'd say I saw something to where like most of the Marvel movies that are coming out, the people writing and directing it haven't read any of the comics.
No.
And a lot of the Marvel movies and series that are coming out, they have no connection to the original source.
It's frustrating. And it's frustrating. Being the comic book fan, you're like, perfect example. Recently, the Madam Web movie came out, and that's Sony just grabbing stuff. I guarantee they looked up the Spider-Man wiki, and were like, "Oh, Madam Web, she's a character. We can make a movie out of that," And there's a clip that's going out there with one of the actresses. She's like, "Yeah, I was reading one of the issues where she was doing this pose, and I really like that, so I wanted that in the movie." Guarantee they were like had stuff on the table, or she did like minimal research and she was like, oh, this is cool. I'm guaranteed that was it for that movie. And then to me with the adaptations, which we could get into, with adaptations, it's fine to change stuff as long as it doesn't transform the overall theme of what you're adapting.
Right.
To me. I know some people's complaints
to me,
about...
Yeah. To me, Lord of the Rings, even though there's things I would have liked to have seen that they took out, they didn't take away from the overall story. The stuff they took out, they could, without taking away from the story. I think that's a great example. Because, what's his name? Tom Bombadil? Would have been cool to see,
he's
but
not in there.
He wasn't integral to the story, right? So I could see why they had to cut him out. So stuff like that.
Lord of the Rings movies are how long?
Yeah, right.
Because the Lord of the Rings movies are how long?
Versions. Yeah.
2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah,
depends on if you're watching the original or the extended version.
Yeah, I guarantee we didn't need to see with Tom Bombadil the detour. The movie's already going along long enough. You don't need, as long as you get the main bullet points, and you are again getting the overall gist. Being a hardcore comic book fan, sometimes it'd be cool to see this thing or this character, but does it work for the overall story? Going from one material to another doesn't always work.
Right.
People complain a lot about Civil War. I heard a lot when that movie came out. He's like, "Oh, why doesn't it have this character?" well, first off, they can't use any of the X-Men characters. So, like, they had to do work with what they had. But the overall point of Tony versus Iron Man, Tony versus Cap is, like, that's the main crux of that movie.
Yeah,
so
they had to use what they established in that one, and I didn't follow the comics that well, so I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. So
I like the movie more than the comics because Mark Millar, who wrote Civil War, he essentially created a threat for Tony, like kind of changed his positioning on it for that book.
Yeah.
Like before that, there wasn't like stories where like Tony was like, "Oh, we should have heroes registered." That wasn't like a part of his thing. It was kind of just there. Like it was kind of just thrown in, and it worked later. But like at that moment, like there's other stuff in that book, like Captain America like really beats up characters randomly, which he wouldn't do. Like he just chains them to like in the sewers, like something Captain America wouldn't do. Like it was really weird. Like there's very weird character motivations in that book. So it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like you could even argue a lot of Disney's adaptations, like their original adaptations, aren't original to the books. Like any of the original like Disney stuff.
Oh yeah,
like Snow White.
totally.
Frozen. Like none of those are. No, they're not. Because like what Ariel, doesn't she die?
They had to update it to the times, make it more kid friendly, and all that other stuff. So
yeah, because like her legs like break or whatever. It's like something like really weird. And then Frozen, I think
it's like at the end of Cinderella, the original story. At the end of the story, a bunch of crows come and peck out the eyes of the stepmother and stepsisters, I think.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah. So it's like, gruesome. So they're like, for like 1940 standards, like, we got to tone this down, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, which I find funny. I'm trying to think other adaptations, because there's some good adaptations. Like famously, there's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I don't know if any of you guys watched that.
I haven't seen that one.
Guess I haven't.
It's really good. So that's actually adapted from a book that legit came out like I think a year or two prior to that movie, and it was based off Batman Year 2, where they're like it's Batman's second year, but he's going to use guns, which they were shying away from. But then the movie, they had to make the movie, and they're like, well, we're not going to do the whole gun thing, but we're going to do Batman has to fight another vigilante that's his precursor. And that was like, it adapted the gist of it, but it didn't do like everything else in it, I guess. It's not like a 1-to-1 adaptation, but like even then there was like, and if you saw that before Batman Begins, that adaptation they tried doing with Christian Bale, they did the Darren Aronofsky
I've not heard of
Batman movie. Oh, it is. They're like, Batman, he's not going to have any money. He's going to be in a garage, and he's going to have this old black guy named Al who's going to help him build a car. And the suit he's going to have is like knight's armor. That was the movie. And someone just went, no. And then they got Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan. So it's like some adaptations work and some don't.
When it comes to like adaptations, what about like I don't know if either of you have seen the latest like Super Mario Brothers movie or the Sonic movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the latest Super Mario
yes.
one. Okay. Because that's, I mean, it's a different kind of media and it's definitely within its own universe, but I like what they did with it. Because there were definitely complaints from either one of them, and like Mario movie, it was made by Illumination, and they made certain decisions. But it's fun for the kids, right? So that's kind of the big thing about it. But I thought with what they Sonic did and what they had, they did a pretty good job. And Sonic was amazing.
Or it's like, hey,
there was a lot of like human elements they could have left out, but
yeah, that's my one complaint. Like, why does he have to go to the human world?
Yeah.
Like, I only watched the first one. I haven't watched the second one.
The second one was fantastic. I am so excited for the third one.
For third one?
Yeah. because the second one, they're still in the human world, but Tails comes in, and you see that relationship between Sonic and Tails, and then also you have Knuckles comes in too as the antagonist, and then they kind of make it up, and the relationship that they establish between Sonic and Tails, and then Sonic and Knuckles, so good.
Nice.
Just steals the whole movie. They have they do the whole stupid thing in Hawaii with the fake wedding, well, the wedding and everything, which didn't need to be done, but just to give the human character something to do. So I hope that they get away from them in the third movie, because now you're going to have Shadow, and I think they also showed that Metal Sonic is going to be in there as well. So I hope they really just kind of focus on them and bringing back Dr. Eggman, and just leave the rest of the human characters off to the side.
Yeah. You could argue Dr. Eggman has to be the only human character. You could argue that
I don't think he has to be the only one, but we don't need to focus on the stories of these other characters at this point.
No.
Like, they've established they're living in the house with Donut Lord, or whatever his actual name is. But
James Marsden's whatever his character,
his character,
actor, whatever his name is.
He doesn't need to have a part in the whole like arc with Shadow and everything. He can fall into the background at this point, and it's just his house that they all stay in now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or he can give fatherly advice. Like, that could be the thing. Like, I did like how he was trying to give fatherly advice to Sonic. To help try to build his character, but that's all it needs to be at this point. He doesn't need to have his own little part in the story. Aside from that, I think.
No. And I have that feeling with that Knuckles show that's coming. Because I feel like Knuckles shouldn't have any human interaction.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's going to be doing that buddy cop thing with the neighbor.
I haven't seen any trailers, so I don't know if this is like pre-Sonic or post-Sonic, or like where this fits in the timeline of the movies. So I don't know.
It's post-Sonic, because he's there at their house, hanging out, and then he's with one of their neighbors. Yeah, but it's okay. He gets the cowboy hat, But yeah,
he does.
And then they get some guy who what? Oh yeah, and then he gets they have a guy that worked for Robotnik that's the villain, so it very much feels like copy and paste. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't work. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not on Paramount Plus, so I probably won't see it. So.
Me neither. I have zero just to get Paramount Plus, so I don't care. I don't. You don't need any more streaming services.
That would be the only thing I would get it for. So. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's too many.
Yeah.
I don't feel get it, but they
dropped
get it
Netflix
work
a long time ago, and I finally got rid of Hulu too. So
many streaming services for sure.
So my internet went down temporarily. So when I came back, I'm not 100% sure if you can see my video, because I'm currently still editing this. So we'll see. I'll be able to use some backup audio to salvage the recording. So hope you guys enjoyed this. But while you're here, if you got this far in the video, or if you're even listening on a SoundCloud type thing like Google Podcasts or YouTube Podcasts or whatever they're doing now, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and share out to your friends. And follow us at Those Christian Geeks over on Discord. Speaking of Those Christian Geeks, let's get back to the conversation Crad and Strange were having while I was having my technical difficulties.
The Crad Strange Show. It's nice to have you here tonight. As always, we're sponsored by our good friends at the Long Distance Pizza Party podcast. And if you're ever in need for a pizza, make sure you go with them. They're pretty good fellas over there. On the real though, Strange, I will ask your opinion. What do you think about changing the name from the Christian Geeks to God's First, Geek Second?
I'm not a fan, personally. I didn't think. I know, because he brought it up before a while ago about wanting to change it, and then we I think people talked him out of it, and then he brought it up again because he's afraid that it's pointing to him and not pointing to
God,
Jesus. But
simply.
like we're his fan club. I can kind of understand where he's coming from with that, but I don't necessarily see it that way. I see it just as a collection. I don't know. I don't care for it as much, but he's
not quite as snappy for you, or
yeah. I liked those Christian Geeks, and then we have to rebrand. And I've been meaning to ask if like we're gonna get new badges. Maybe I'll update my picture for new badges or whatever that he sent out.
He answered that actually. Someone else
did he? I haven't been part of the following because I don't get notifications for that anymore, so I lose out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he actually. Oh, there's Nathan. Hi, we were just
so Sonic.
We were just talking about you. We kind of took over the show, but
okay, I bumped the wrong
nice
thing. I bumped the wrong thing. I turned off my internet, so there we go.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Anyway,
oh boy.
Anyway, so I'll post the same question to answer your. He posted that he would we'll get to that. He would indeed issue us new IDs. So, Nathan, I will ask the question I asked of Strange. Right. What do you think of that Christian Geek changing those Christian Geeks to God First, Geeks Second?
I understand why he wants to do it, because as soon as you introduce, you're like, hey, we are... Can you not hear me? Oh, for the love of Pete.
Well, that was a very, very weighty opinion he had. It was apparently the internet could not handle it. So
very thorough.
I'm sure he'll check back in soon. In the meantime,
what is your opinion then? Now it's your turn.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see the merit to both of it. I do believe that we do definitely have to have that attitude in our life. God's first and the geekdom and anything else is second. So I can agree with that. Like you said, it does make us kind of have to do a rebranding, but better to rebrand early, I guess, than get established and feel like you need to rebrand, because it's not like we were, we have like a great big merch selection or anything at the moment. So I can kind of see where he was going with it. What are you not a fan of in that?
Well, I would say the God First, Geek Second. It's not that it's a bad thing. Like it's not a bad brand or a bad name. I just don't think it was necessary. Is kind of, but and then having to do all this other stuff that comes along with it.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't like change, but
well, it's one of those things. It's kind of like I kind of compare it. This is a weird biblical example, I guess, or where would take this, but you do something that would be okay to one person, but might offend another, right? To him, it bothered him enough, that he felt like there needed to be a change. Like even though anybody else might, try to convince him that, hey, dude, we don't see it like that. Nobody's going to see it like that. It bothered enough in his spirit and in his conscience that he's like, I need to do this thing. So I can respect that.
Yeah, I can respect that too, for sure.
So I get that, and I appreciate the fact that he was not afraid to say that, even though that may not have been something that he thought he would have to deal with or address again. So I do appreciate that. Plus, it does kind of give him a chance to kind of step out under his own brand if he wants to eventually more, which I feel like that's what he's kind of going for in a way.
Yeah.
Because I think he's talking about starting his own podcast and doing it like more like a talk show type format or something like that. So I can respect that, to where he wants to kind of differentiate the two, but still thankful to be kind of a part of the movement, though. That's kind of cool. And
and I get that he also just wants this to kind of become its own thing.
Yeah.
Outside of him.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely that connection with what it was, and I get that. But so I can see how he also wants it to just become its own thing, which we've done. There's different groups that have started because of that. I know just that I'm involved in, first off, this podcast, and then also a group of us that do streaming on Twitch together and trying to get those videos online that doesn't involve him at all, and it's stuff that spawned from that.
You, Silly, Sketch, and the rest of them.
Yeah, Silly, myself, Silly, Sketch and Huffle
Yeah.
snitch. And even just the other night, outside of that group, Sketch was doing a Twitch, and a bunch of us, because we had Doc Crow, who's one who kind of tunes in, and he was able to jump in on that stream. We kind of did this like big game together where there was like 9 or 10 of us or something like that.
Right.
So some of us from the God First Geek Second group, and as well as some relations, I think like sisters of Sketch and Huffle jumped in as well. So it was really cool to have that, and that was Sketch's largest Twitch so far in terms of people jumping in and watching and being a part of it. So that was really cool for her to see.
Probably helped her feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So that was really neat. So I don't know if there's other groups that have kind of spawned off as well from this. I know there's different artists who are getting encouraged on their artwork in the group, being able to share that and spread that. And eventually we can get a little more presence at cons and stuff like that as well, which I know was a big hope of his to get that going as well. So, and if he doesn't have to be a part of it, if people like on your side of the country can just do that without him, that would be cool too, and that would be easier to do if it's under a different brand. So I can see all of that. So I don't know, like I said, it's maybe just that I don't like change.
Yeah, I'm not a huge change guy either, depending upon what it is. But yeah, all those are valid points. I am definitely looking forward to when we can definitely have more of a presence in the cons and kind of get it to where it's, we have our own little thing going there. I know that he's done one, I think, with it, and had a pretty good result
to where
from
he's
it.
at, yeah.
Yeah, and had a pretty good result from it. But that's kind of harder to do when you got a national presence and you have to go through certain place to get your merchandise and your branding stuff, and of course you want to make the club look good and don't don't misrepresent anything, and so it's a lot of pressure. Nathan, how you doing over, buddy?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm recording backup audio because it's not letting me upload. I can see I'm like it's not letting me do anything. So as long as you guys can hear me, I can create an audio backup to put in because I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. I was like, I'd seen the change, and I was like, oh, it's a little weird that this is changing now because he had started those Christian Geeks like a year. He'd been doing it for a year before the change.
At least a year now, because
At
how long
least
have we
a
been
year.
doing this podcast? Yeah.
Yeah. So like the amount, like it's weird changing it now, like so young in this project they would change it, because then you have people that are like, we've already told, be like, oh, it's those Christian Geeks. They go to look for it. It's now you're not, all you're gonna find is God First Geek Second. Like you're like, oh, this is the wrong thing. Like those Christian Geeks, I guess, just had a general term versus God. Like it, to some people, I guess would mean something different when you're trying to attract other people. So I think it kind of, I'm not gonna say hinder, but I think has potentially could create a hurdle. But like you were saying, Crad, like he felt like it should have changed. So
yeah,
like,
and one thing that I think about the new name that I didn't like was, I feel like those Christian Geeks rolls off the tongue a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
Than God First Geek Second, and also those Christian Geeks is like, that's a group identifier, whereas God First Geek Second is more of like a slogan, and that might have been something else why I didn't care.
Yeah. It's kind of how it feels. And personally, being someone who has changed their channel name several times, like you again create that confusion, and then you're like, people not be on board for the change. They're like, oh, what's this? I don't remember signing up for this, subscribing to this. Like if they didn't see the announcement, like it does, like I don't know, and then it creates that kind of confusion as well. So like one day McDonald's didn't change their name. Like It's like kind of like what the IHOP situation where it was like we're IHOP now.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like,
where
it just
they
created-
started the different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It not quite that, but it's kind of just like now there's this confusion. I guess that's how I look at it. Like, who knows? It might work it might work,
and it might.
but
You
yeah.
know, it's hard to
Time
tell.
will tell.
It's still very early. So.
Oh yeah.
Time will tell for sure.
What else do you guys talk about? Why I was having connection issues?
Oh, we said, this is the Strange and Crad show, and we're sponsored by the Long Distance Pizza Party podcast.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
So-
Crad, we did agree that Strange and Silly both owe us 2 episodes by themselves.
At least two. Yeah, at least 2 episodes
Yeah.
now by yourselves.
Oh,
Since
yeah.
we've
Just
had
the
to
two.
take the mantle up for y'all.
Yeah.
Man.
Who knows? My internet next, in the future, my internet just might be down for a week. You never know.
Yeah,
Like,
conveniently.
I wouldn't say conveniently.
Yeah, well,
The
yeah,
weird
not
thing,
conveniently.
I do not know, and I'm going to apologize for audience listening, why my internet, for some reason, conks out. I have really decent internet. I have no issues all day until we do the podcast. I think it's because of the side. I think it's because of the side of house I'm on. Because it used to be the router used to be in the other room, and I had a perfect connection. And then I got moved downstairs, so I think partially it's my connection to the router. But the computer's always had a connection issue, so I don't know what's going on. But
I
anyway,
wonder if you need to invest in like a hard line, because that's what I have on my computer. Is I have hard lines to my router.
the problem is I don't know if there's another port because we have one already plugged in. My dad uses it. I gotta check if there's a second port for it, and then I gotta somehow run it upstairs into my room.
Maybe it's the devil.
Just drill a couple holes, you'll be fine.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
the devil. He doesn't want you doing this podcast.
Who knows? Who knows? But we talked about adaptations. We talked about name change. Strange, you said you didn't see any of the Super Bowl ads. Yeah, you really didn't miss much. I didn't.
I
all of
don't
them,
watch the
but-
Super Bowl.
Me neither. I was at work. That was my excuse, but like I don't care about the Chiefs or the 49ers, so or anything
I
else.
didn't watch the
going on.
Super Bowl.
I just don't care about football, but
Me neither. My dad went to one this year. He never goes to Super Bowl parties. But our church was doing one. He's like, I'm entering the soup and chili contest. And so that's why he went.
Yeah.
So he made clam
we didn't
chowder,
do it
which
this
I
year,
guess
but our
no one
church has
liked.
hosted Super Bowl parties in the past, and I usually end up just playing board games with people. I don't even watch the game.
Oh, that's definitely what I do. It's like my friend, he invited me to his church, and they did one. It was always like, you want to watch it here? Go here. Or here. They like 2 different TVs. Or it's like, I don't know, my church always did one too, but I was like, yeah, whatever. I go for the trailers, that's it. I'm just like, or just hang out with people, nothing else.
Yeah, the commercials. But even then, I've heard they're not
Yeah.
as good anymore as they used to be. So
Some of them
No,
were
no,
okay.
no,
They're
no.
some of them were okay. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I really wanted to see Opera Plaza, in the Mountain Dew ad,
The one with Arnold Schwarzenegger at the State Farm was pretty good.
Oh, they all,
Where he
yeah.
couldn't say-
Yeah, State
He
Farm,
couldn't
not
say
Allstate.
neighbor correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is State Farm.
There's
He
a
couldn't say
couple.
neighbor correctly. So eventually they brought in Danny DeVito to do it for him, which was hilarious.
So it's like a weird Arnold versus, and then like a twin reference. It was,
yeah, I was gonna say it was referencing twins.
Yeah.
oh yeah. And then, yeah. I'm trying to think what other ads there were. I watched a couple of them. There was the Office ad they did. It was a joke from The Office. There's that one, and I think that's the one I remember. It was the John Krasinski joke with Randall Park. So like the only thing I remember. But because I kind of watched a couple of them, they were showing up. My boss was watching it at work, and he's watching the SpongeBob one they did. That Nickelodeon had at the Super Bowl going,
Nice.
but they had Patrick and SpongeBob like spectating the game. Like they had actual voice actors doing the game. It was like some
Yeah, I
weird
saw the
VR
way
thing,
that
so, like
they,
jellyfish would like fly over the field. Yeah,
Yeah. I saw that.
Sure,
I saw
little
them like
Timmy-
in a TikTok or whatever, setting up for that. Like the voice actors were doing it. That's interesting.
oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
The
I'm
thing
sure
that
little
blows
Timmy
me
was very
away about-
confused.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Daddy, what's a
I'm
fumble?
surprised.
No.
Yeah, it was very much that. The little time he pulled Nickelodeon, it's like, I want to watch whatever's on Nickelodeon now. And then it's just football.
Daddy, what'd you call that player that name for?
The thing
Whatever you
that
gotta say.
really blows me away is how popular the Puppy Bowl has become. Because, like, it's in
I didn't
news
realize that was
feeds
a thing.
about this one puppy. I don't even remember the name of it. That, like, everybody just adored or something like that. And I'm like, really? This weird thing that was on, I think it was, what, Animal Planet? They just started this, just having puppies play around on a fake football field. And it's, like, blown up.
Why?
That one kind of blows me away that that's become popular.
That sounds like a waste of time.
Popular enough to have, like, news stories like that.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it. That sounds like a waste of time.
Yeah.
Weird. That's peculiar. That's strange. I don't know. But I think I've heard of that. I don't know why it's like surprising me so much. But yeah, like it wasn't a Super Bowl ad. It was just it wasn't really a Super Bowl ad that got dropped, but Disney decided, hey, we're gonna announce Fantastic Four on Valentine's Day. Weird time to drop that bit of news. Though everyone was getting really mad. They're like, oh, Pedro Pascal is Mr. Fantastic. Oh. Can you guys hear me? Or is it
Yeah. The only
letting you
question
talk.
I have about a new
Okay.
Fantastic Four is, are they starting it over again, or are they like already like established?
Look at the poster. It looks like they're setting it in the 60s. That's what it looks like. So, I think when the movie starts, there are going to be established in the 60s, but I don't know how they're going to explain it where they've been. Like, you could argue in the 60s instead of the rocket, like the rocket was the distraction, but they're like trying to figure out like a dimensional portal or whatever. And you could argue, well, I was here for like 20 minutes, an hour, like 2 hours, enough for a movie. And then I come back and it's like 2020. Like, I don't know how they're going to explain it. But it's clearly the 60s by the look how everyone's dressing. They've already established like it is the 60s. So I really don't know how they're explaining this, but like most of the casting works. I think I don't have complaints against Pedro Pascal, even though I think it's gonna be weird because he's gonna be doing Mandalorian and this, so it's like gonna be interesting how they're doing this. So, but it's okay. We got Herbie. Herbie's gonna be in a MCU movie. So what was the other thing that? Disney dropped X-Men too, which whatever, we'll see. I don't give enough care about X-Men, but
I haven't seen an X-Men movie release in a long time.
It's
whenever
been
the last one was. The last movie
I've missed the last few X-Men movies.
Oh,
because I never saw Logan.
You saved yourself.
I know I dropped off before that, I thought.
So Apocalypse.
I don't think it was Apocalypse.
What was
the one where they went back and you saw Magneto and Dr. X as like teenagers or early 20s or something like that? I think that was the last one I saw.
That was First Class.
First Class?
It was First
I
Class.
think that was the last X-Men movie I saw.
Correction, it's Professor X. Dr. X is his brother.
Or Professor X. What? Yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. No, it's fine. I don't. They announced, so it's weird. Like all the crap I've been seeing about people complaining about the X-Men show that they're bringing back, I just find really funny. He's like, "Oh, they don't sound right." Yeah, but it's the original cast. It's like 20 years later. None of them are going to sound the same. Like, they're complaining about the Wolverine actor. I'm like, yeah, he's like 20 years older. Like, he's not going to sound like he did. If you were going to complain with that, just rewatch the show. Like, I don't know. It's funny. Yeah. And then, like, some of the other stuff people were complaining about Jean. Because in this show, she's like, her and Cyclops are having a kid, so like, guarantee she's gonna be sidelined for the whole show until it matters plot wise for her to be in it. Like, it's I don't know. Let's also they're giving like Magneto this weird, crappy costume because he's supposed to be the heroic Magneto, but we'll give him this purple unitard costume with a giant M on it. It looks very ugly. It looked ugly in the comics in the 80s. It looks ugly now. Like, it doesn't. I don't know. But it was funny when people with that trailer dropped. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're Spider-Man." Yeah, but when that trailer dropped, everyone's like, "Where's Iron Man?" Or not Iron Man. Where's Spider-Man? Like that's what everyone cared about. It wasn't the X-Men? It was Spider-Man, which I found funny.
You mentioned the Magneto costume. That made me think. Bad hero costumes in movies.
Oh, okay.
Because
yes, okay.
One of my favorite Batman villains of all time my favorite Batman villain of all time is the Riddler.
Oh,
Jim Carrey's green unitard costume, I hated so much.
Which, yeah, none of those costumes work in that movie. Like, barring Batman with the nipples, or like
I think Dr. Freeze was the only one that
Mr. Freeze,
okay.
yeah.
Mr.
Even
Freeze,
though his suit's powered by crystals or diamonds or whatever.
Something. As far as looks,
thanks,
it looked
Joel.
all right. I don't know.
Yeah, thanks, Joel Schumacher. Thanks. Oh my goodness, that and then like Two-Face, like with the whatever costume he was wearing, like the half leopard print, half stripe, whatever it was.
Oh,
like it doesn't. That didn't look good. Like Two-Face in the comics, it's usually it's black and white suit. Whoever tailors that suit, it's either black and white or it's like tweed and like black. Like it's usually that. It's not like weird. He's half lawyer, half punk rock thing. Like I don't know. Tommy Lee Jones in that movie was like not the best choice for that. Like I don't know what it was. Another bad costume is that Daredevil costume from 2003. Like that weird biker leather they decided to use. I don't understand why they used it.
The movie one?
And made it look that way. Yeah. And the 2003 did like the weird biker leather costume he had. Hey, at least had the D's on it, unlike the new show, which they are afraid to put the D's on the costume for some reason. It's just red costume. Looks pretty good. He just doesn't have his logo of the two D's, which they're afraid of putting on there because they think it's going to look silly. Like, whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, there are some not great costumes in movies. Like, famously, there's a failed Justice League pilot that they did in the early 2000s before they did Smallville. And every costume looks horrible. Like, they all look like they're wearing foam. Like it.
Oh yeah.
Like Green Lantern's costume is. It's a combination of Guy Gardner, so he's got this giant goofy jacket. Like it doesn't look. None of it looks good. Like it. I don't know. Also, in the weird. I don't know if you guys notice this in like comic book movie costumes, they have to give the costumes texture. Like either has to be really weird leather, or like little studded diamonds. Like it has like this weird, like the Raimi movies, like that costume, how good that costume looks, like it had to look textured.
Mm-hmm.
Like for how decent that costume looks. Like I don't understand, but then I think it's like so ingrained in everyone's mind that they look that way. When you don't do that, it looks off. Like on the Flash CW show, when they changed the costume, and like it looks off, it looks like a total cartoon because they use biker leather because that's all their budget allowed. Like going from that to like this weird skin tight suit, like it didn't transfer. Like it's that's just put any CW costumes on that list of like bad costumes. Like
I don't know. I could see some of them were kind of weird, but some of them, because I watched them for quite a while. The CW shows, the whole Arrowverse. I liked Arrow himself, but a lot of that was just a green, like Robin Hood kind of tunic thing.
Yeah, it worked.
I don't know, the biker leather that you're talking about doesn't bother me as much, because I feel like if you go comic book accurate, then it's just a red unitard, and I think that would just look really weird. So I like that they, I don't know.
Yeah, I liked it too.
To
especially, and the explanation they gave it was like, oh, it's a firefighter uniform that we were working on, like an experimental suit that we were working on.
Yeah,
like it worked. Like it. That's right. In that world, it works. What doesn't work in Smallville when they gave the Flash a hoodie? Because when he shows up, they give like this weird. They give him they gave him a hoodie and like sunglasses. Like it doesn't work. Like it looks ugly. Like, and that was every costume. Like even Aquaman, I think he had a hoodie for some reason. Like
that's very random.
In that show, I was like, someone in the department's like, everyone's got to wear hoodies. Everyone. Like, even Green Arrow has a hoodie, which, if you're Archer, arguably you say the hood would get in your way. But
that one makes a little more sense. But yeah,
yeah, it's like, okay, we can't do the hat. We can't do that Archer hat. It looks too goofy.
The Robin Hood hat.
Yeah, it looks too goofy. Can't do it. I challenge you.
Got to
do the. Yeah. It's okay. In 2000, when they rebooted DC Comics, Green Arrow's sidekick, he had a backwards baseball cap. That was his hat. Instead of like the Archer hat. Like if I like it legit like my hats essentially had one, like that was it, and everyone's like, no. It's ugly. Like I don't know. It didn't work. I'm trying to think of like other suits. Oh. The Raimi Venom suit. I do not like. The Venom suit they did.
I don't remember that one.
And Spider-Man 3 with Topher, like for some reason he has like sharp teeth for some reason without the mask on. There's like old footage you can look at. They had an animatronic Venom they were going to use, and it just broke when they were trying to make the first scene. So like it's like in a storage closet somewhere, it just kind of just sitting there. So it's like oh, we could have had something, I guess, decent versus whatever Topher Venom was. I don't know. That movie made a lot of weird choices with costumes, like the Green Goblin with airsoft mask and a snowboard glider thing.
Yeah. That movie made a lot of weird choices, period.
That is fair. That is... yeah, that's fair. We had to have a whole scene of Spider-Man dancing. Like,
emo Spider-Man.
That had to be...
dancing.
Yeah.
Emo freaking Peter Parker. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because we all wanted that.
That was so Hollywood. Hard to sit through. So I think I watched it in theaters, and that scene was just so hard.
Oh, I pity you. I saw it way later, so like... And I knew all the memes, so I was like, I kind of knew what I was going into. Yeah. So, at that point, like, oh my gosh. I'm trying to think other crappy costumes. Oh, Captain America and Avengers. That costume.
I don't like that one.
I don't like that costume. In the first Avengers movie, I like parts of it, but I don't... Like, it looks weird. Like, it looks off. I think it's just the mask.
Maybe.
I think that's... If they redesigned the mask, I think it would have worked better. Similarly, in the 90s, so there's a old Captain America movie they tried to make in the 90s. And so the actor, they gave him fake ears to wear over the mask. And it's like super obvious because it's not flesh toned. And they're too big. Oh. It's like he's wearing... Yeah, it's horrible. Any of those like 90s stuff, like spray painted Lou Ferrigno kind of worked. But there's the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie that didn't come out that they made because the studio got the rights for it, and to keep the rights, they made that movie. If you find footage of it, Doctor Doom, you can't hear him because they didn't ADR his voice. So in the movie, he's like, "Oh, Dr. Richards," like it's just that, or like,
really?
and he, like the Thing, he's like got this like look of like he's just constantly just like standing there. He's like, "All right, guys, let's go." Like that's him through the whole movie. It looks bad. And Disney, if you wanted to announce your Fantastic Four film, you should have just dropped that whole movie on Disney Plus. That's how you should have announced it. Like, some fan out there is like, finally! I don't know. There are some bad movie decisions, like in the comic book stuff, costume wise, writing wise. It like baffles me sometimes, where it's like, oh, this movie's almost perfect except for that costume.
Yeah.
Trying to
Weird movie decisions just makes me think of, as much as I liked it as a kid, I understand everyone's hate for it, and that's the Super Mario Brothers movie live action from like the 90s. I loved it as a kid because of all the references and everything, but yeah, it was definitely weird.
Yeah, like the Koopas are dinosaur people.
Mm-hmm.
Such an odd choice. You know, for years, the context I had for that movie was the cover, like the tape cover of it, because it's the M.
cover was cool.
Yeah, because it's the M, and then you have the Mario Brothers. Like they're, to me, I always thought they were on a table for some reason, like an M table. I'm like, why are they on a M table? That's how I saw it.
Oh,
as a kid.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was supposed to be like it was just a regular metal M, and it was like supposed to be simulating a silhouette. I didn't realize that's what it was. Because that's all I saw when I went to Blockbuster. It's all I saw. Like they had a separate shelf of like movies, and it was Super Mario, the Raimi movies, Dark Knight, and a couple others. Just randomly on a separate shelf, like by the front desk. Back when we had Blockbuster, it was weird, like a weird choice. So I, for years, hadn't watched that movie, and I saw that, and I was like, weird. And like, of course, I know Mario. I'm like, that's not quite Mario. Like it's not quite there. Like there's some again, there's like it's like punk rock 90s apocalypse in the Koopa world for some reason.
Very much. I thought the actor choices as far as Mario, Luigi, and Peach were good choices. It was just the story just went crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then like whoever was Bowser, I can't think of the guy's name.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like monkeys. Like I'm like weird.
Yeah.
Same with that. I've brought this up before. The He-Man movie from the 90s. Weird choice. Why do they have to go to the human world? Why do we have to go to the human world? Let's stay on Eternia. Odd choice. Why does Skeletor not quite look right? It looks like you just put a bunch of white makeup on someone's face and not like at least have more like a skull mask from like Party City. Like why not that? Like it's odd choices. He-Man's costume looks pretty cool. That's really it. That's
Dennis Hopper was Bowser.
Dennis Hopper, that's who it was. I could not think of his name. Like, though I am grateful now that we've got those movies, because then we got movies later that like fixed it or like paved the way.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't have the Raimi movies, you probably wouldn't have gotten like essentially the MCU, because Disney worked with what they had left. Yeah. Like even the X-Men movies, for all because they were afraid of giving them actual costumes, they'd wear leather and then poke at it and make fun of it. Like I'm excited for what we'll get next eventually when we get to X-Men. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys saw Marvels where they teased Beast.
I haven't.
So the post-credit scene, Beast shows up and they brought back what's his name? He played him in the other ones. Not young one, the older one from X3. I can't think of the actor's name. It's not Powers Booth. It's the other guy. The guy from Frasier. Crap, what's his name? And I know he's Sideshow Bob. I can't think of his name. But they brought him back. So, as Beast. And they changed his design where it's more comic accurate than whatever they did for X3. Like, he's more Beast. Like, it looks more like comic accurate Beast instead of like the ape look they gave him, which I liked. But like, there are some Hollywood decisions you have to do to translate it. Like, recently they came out with the Iron Man script, like the original Iron Man script, and the villain was going to be War Machine, and it wasn't Rhodey, nor was it Obadiah Stane. It was Howard Stark. That was going to be the movie.
His dad?
Yeah. It was going to be him, Tony essentially fighting Howard because Howard wanted to build more weapons and Tony didn't want to. That was going to be the movie. That was almost the first Iron Man movie. Before we got what we got. Like, there are weird Hollywood decisions. Like, famously, Kevin Smith's Superman Lives movie, where we would have gotten, like, emo Superman fighting spiders. Like there are odd decisions. Though I kind of want to see those movies. Like, I just want to reach into another reality and, like, see these.
Yeah.
Like, to see these odd decisions.
That should be the new What If.
Oh my gosh. They
What
should
if
have.
these movies actually released?
Yeah. What if we got James Cameron's Spider-Man? What if we got, like, what other, like, weird project that got canceled? I'm trying to think of a couple, and I can't think of them on the top of my head. But there's, like, some out there. Oh, like, what if we got the original Spider-Man 4 script? Which would have been the Vulture, and, like, Black Cat would have been his daughter, and, like, it was odd choices. Or, what if we got, I think there was another Captain America script that was floating around. I think they said no, but I don't remember what was in it. Yeah, there's, like, odd, like, that I'd like to really see some of those. Oh, it was also who would have fought, like, Mysterio, which then they adapted into the video games, because, like, if you play in those Raimi games, like, Mysterio is, like, a side quest in those. And they would have revealed those Bruce Campbell as Mysterio.
That would have been good.
I know. It would have. That should have been a joke in that Doctor Strange movie instead of whatever it was. Like, so I just looked up canceled comic book stuff. They were going to make a movie called Green Arrow Jumping. That was going to be the movie title.
Green Arrow Jumping?
Yes. And the plot was Green Arrow is arrested and framed for murder, and he has to fight his way out of prison. That was going to be the movie, which I would have watched. Would have been interesting, but you shouldn't have called it Green Arrow Jumping. Like, that's
weird.
That's an odd title choice. Catwoman with Michelle Pfeiffer, which then became a Halle Berry movie. Famously, the Batgirl movie got canceled, which they should just put out. I mean, you have it somewhere, but they can't. Batman continues with Robin Williams as the Riddler. This is what they did. This is what they did before.
That would have been cool.
This was gonna be Batman Forever.
Wow.
But then I also heard that I think the other title was going to be Batman Triumphant. That was the other working title. Justice League Mortal would have been was another one, which was supposed to come out in, like, the early 2000s. Like, it was coming out, like, during, I think they're working on Batman Begins. It would have been by George Miller, so the guy that did Mad Max would have done it. Which interesting. It would have had, like, Wally West, Flash, Aquaman, Talia al Ghul, and Maxwell Lord as the villain. With the cast as Armie Hammer as Batman, Megan Gale as Wonder Woman, Anton Yelchin as the Flash, DJ Controna as Superman, and Hugh Keys Bird as Martian Manhunter. Like, and then they would have done a sequel where they fought Star the Conqueror. Like, in that time, I don't think they needed that movie because no one would have gone and watched it. Like, but again, we got a Justice League movie and no one liked that either. So, you know.
Yeah, I haven't even bothered to watch it.
Yeah. Justice League, as it's called, isn't that great. Like, I'm sorry. Just because you did Avengers doesn't mean that you can turn out and do Justice League. So, like,
because I finally forced myself to watch Batman v Superman, and
I'm sorry.
regret that decision so much.
Yeah,
Aquaman and Wonder Woman were the only ones that DC finally found something with, but
yeah, and then
I can't.
Yeah,
I just can't.
Yeah, no, that whole man. Though they had some great casting choices. Like, I really want to see that Deathstroke in something, and then we're not going to get anything. So it's like, it's okay. That guy Joe Manganiello, I think it's how you say his name, Joe Manganiello. He might be in Secret Wars.
Fast. No.
Yeah, he might be in a Secret Wars. So as Agent Venom, potentially that's a rumor. So it's like, I could see it because he was Flash Thompson in the Raimi movies. Huh. So it's like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I'd like to see that, but
I'd like to see a big budget DC movie with the writers and actors from the CW series.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because I like that Flash. The Supergirl was really good. Like, I thought they did really good in the casting in that.
Yeah, there are good casting choices. Writing choices, not so much. I watched way too much of that Flash show. Like, they should have stopped after season 3, maybe 4. After that,
totally.
I was like, dude, like, this is annoying. Like, it got to like levels of like crappy writing. I was like, oh, I can't watch this anymore.
I only say that because they actually had humor and decent characterization, as opposed to Batman v Superman and a lot of those other things.
Yeah, versus
I just think they would have done a better job than what we got.
Yeah, let's be gritty, no humor, no color.
Yeah.
And the conflict will be resolved because our parents' names are the same. That is a plot of a movie that was made and put out. Thanks, Zack Snyder. Yep. Thank you.
What a rant.
It's okay. They wanted to make a Sinister Six movie. Okay? Like, that's also a choice that was almost made. And won't now because that Madam Web movie apparently did so bad. So. Which. I don't know who would sign up for that movie, but Sony's like, hey, let's make movies about the villains. Like.
Well, there's an appeal to that because they did that with the Joker, which I never watched that one.
And we're getting sequel.
Yeah, but I had heard that it did fairly well, and then they did it again with
Black Adam.
No, well, not Black Adam. The Suicide Squad.
Yeah. The second one's good. The first one's crap.
I haven't seen either one of those either, so I kind of lost it for DC. So, but
I've seen both of those. Interesting.
Yeah. I get the appeal of having a villain being the main character of a movie, but it doesn't work for every villain. Yeah. Like, Joker kind of works if you want to do like a vacuum without Batman. Like,
and
the sequel is going to be a musical, which I don't know why that's going to be a movie.
Well,
but
wait a minute. Did you say the sequel is going to be a musical for the Joker?
Yes.
What?
And the working title is Joker Folie de Doigt.
What?
And it's got Lady Gaga in it as Harley Quinn.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy.
For audio listeners, Strange is like just dying over in the corner because what I just said.
okay.
Just wow.
You could Google it, 'cause I'm not making this up. I wish I was. Like,
I honestly, from DC, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. I guess
it's okay. They made a musical episode on The Flash, and it wasn't good there either.
That was a good episode.
Man, there he is.
That
He
was a
comes
good
back.
episode. There were some good songs from that episode.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I don't like musicals, so I think that's
Okay,
my opinion.
so you're a little bit anti-biased there, but
Yep.
I like that episode. There were some really good songs from that episode. There were some really fun songs.
Yes,
The
Grant
song, the duet between him and Supergirl, was really fun. Really fun song.
Yes, Melissa Benoit, or however you want to say her name, she's like Canadian or whatever. And Grant Gustin, yes, they can sing. And yes, Grant Gustin can tap dance. That's how he got his role as the Flash. But you can't do a whole flipping musical episode. Like,
they're not the only ones that have done that, though. There's a bunch of shows
fair.
that have done that musical episode.
I do have to admit, I do like the Batman episode they did where it's a musical and Batman Brave the Bold with the Music Meister. I like that. Neil Patrick Harris voices the Music Meister. And it's great, and it's great. But the whole point is, like, his ability is he sings, he takes over your mind. That's how his powers work, and it's fun there. And then, like, that episode I liked, but I don't. To me, it's like if there's in a musical, if you could say what you have to say, you don't need to sing it. Like, that's, I don't know. That's how I view musicals. But
sometimes you just gotta sing.
People like them.
Yeah,
that is fair.
You just gotta sing every once in a while.
But
yeah,
so. That's why I find Sound of Music annoying. Is that the right one? One with the nun. Is that Sound of Music?
She was a nun.
Yeah. They talk
She
about they
started as a
don't
nun,
like.
and then she went to be a babysitter.
Yeah. They
essentially.
one of the nuns say that we don't like her singing, but you're the one singing. Like, it doesn't. Like, that's how I remember that movie.
They didn't like her because she was always late and she was kind of aloof and all that other stuff. That it wasn't her singing.
Maybe that's how I saw it. I don't know. The only time I watched this when I was sick, Mom's like, "Hey, you can watch this." I'm like, when you're sick, that's like, I don't think that's a movie you want to watch. Like,
Sound of Music, no, but when I was a kid, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory had a bunch of songs, and they were fun. I love the Oompa Loompa songs.
that is fair. I do like Willy Wonka. Didn't watch the sequel, or not the sequel, the prequel or whatever it is. I know Silly did.
Oh, the
Wonka,
the new one, Wonka.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it either.
I have. It's pretty good. I like it.
Is it?
Yeah, it can get a little catchy, a little toony, and you're like, but no, it's good. It's good stuff.
Nice. Yeah,
Check it out. I found it very interesting that what is that guy's name? Daggone, Keenan and Peele. You know what I'm talking about? Those guys.
Yeah.
Keenan's in
Peele's
it,
in
I
it.
believe.
Or,
Yeah.
Keenan and Kel?
No, Keenan
no.
and Peele.
Key and Peele.
Keenan and Peele.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a comedy duo.
It's Key and Peele.
Key and Peele, sorry. It's a comedy duo.
Yeah.
And so they do a lot of sketch comedy, that kind of thing, and he's in that. So
yeah. Keegan Michael Key was in that movie. And then Jordan Peele does all those, like, he did Us and Nope and a couple other movies. So, yeah. Hey, he's going to be Bumblebee in the Transformers movie that's coming out. So, Key is a weird choice.
Yeah, for real.
But, like, I don't know. Speaking of adaptation of Transformers, none of those movies are good. So, like, well,
Hey now.
Bumblebee's good. Bumblebee's
Calm
good.
down.
Rise of the Beast is
Calm
decent.
down.
But
Okay, as a non-Transformers fan growing up, when the live action movie came out, I actually liked it.
To be fair, that's how I got into the Transformers, was through those movies most of the part. I mean, I watched them a little later, but, like, that's what was coming out when I got into, like, Transformers. Like, you go to Toys R Us and, like, they'd have that front and center. So it's like, but I don't like some of those movies. Like, me and my friend, we paused to look up part of the movie because we couldn't believe that, like, that was the actual thing, and that was the whole Romeo and Juliet Accords. Like, there's no way this is the point of a movie. Like, that movie's annoying.
I know I've seen the first two, and I've wanted to watch the rest. I've just never got around to it.
Yeah, 3's 3, I think 3 I've seen the most, and it's one a lot of people like or dislike. 4 is, hey, we're gonna make a movie for them because that's how the movie ends. 5 is, I don't know what it's doing because all of a sudden it's knights, armor, King Arthur, all of a sudden, and then and then like let's reboot it with Bumblebee, and then let's do Rise of the Beasts. So it's like, which I liked. It was weird seeing that movie in theaters because there was a family behind me that was like, the kid was like really excited for it. Like he was talking about, I was like, I feel like that kid. Like it was weird. It was all just like, and then 2 weeks later or a month later, I saw Ninja Turtles, and like no one was in the theater.
Oh, geez.
It was like weird. I was like the only one in the theater. I was like, this is odd. To be fair, I did go midday, so that's probably why. So
yeah, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. So it worked out. So like, I don't know. Which Ninja Turtles is a good perfect adaptation. That first movie is, because they just did the first couple issues of comics, and then the second one they're like, well, it got too violent, so let's do more of the cartoon. And then the third one's, I don't know what they were doing. They had ideas, and I like that movie the most because I've watched it the most, but it's not the best. And then they did an animated one, which I like a lot. My brother really likes that one. And they did the Mucka Bay ones because they trusted him with Transformers. They didn't him with Ninja Turtles. Those movies are weird.
I still haven't seen those ones. I want to, but I just haven't done it. Yeah.
Oh, look at the behind the scenes. Like they would leave the actors in a lot, like the actors for the Turtles in a lot. Like they'd be like the last to get picked up. Like, and they'd be like recording in like Atlanta or like Vancouver, and it'd be cold, and like they're in like these like the green screen suits, like they're wearing the mocap suits, like so they're freezing.
Oh, man.
Like I'm like, dude, it's like, that's why I probably wouldn't do movies. I'm like, oh, that stuff happens. Oh, nope. I think I'll just title it like good/bad adaptations or
good,
something.
bad,
like
and the ugly. You have to decide which one is which.
Yeah. There we go. Hey, there we go. The ugly is my connection issue.
Right. Yeah, there you go. That's the ugly.
There we go. Heck yeah.
You're welcome.
Heck yeah. So if you enjoyed an episode like this, I'm sorry for random connection issues. Every time I say it's fine, it's not.
It's not fine.
And it dies.
Yeah, my internet just drops. Power line falls outside. Around here, I'm surprised it hasn't happened. It's no one knows how to drive around here. But if you guys enjoyed an episode like this, please check us out on most social media platforms at Pizza Party Pod. I just posted another TikTok over there that came out a couple days ago here on YouTube. So go watch those. They get random spikes because we had like 3 or 4 that had like 700 views.
Wow.
Which I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then went back down to normal. So I'm like, I don't know what was going on that week with like, it was doing good. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. I hope it kind of stays this way. So check all of those out. You can follow all of us at Those Christian Geeks / God First Geeks Second at Discord, where we have discussions over there. There's multiple groups of us, like we were talking about. You can also check out Kingdom Streamers, and there's a bunch of different stuff over there, devotions, all of that, and the Discord, link down below, again, with our own socials. So Strange, where can they find you?
Besides the Kingdom Streamers and all that, you can find me on Strange Plays Games on YouTube, but I am taking a break from that and doing something different.
Nice.
On my Twitch. Instead of playing games, I am actually reading books. I'm calling it Bedtime Stories with Strange.
Nice.
Cool.
You can enjoy, I'm reading a bunch of stuff, for instance, A Call of the Wild,
There you go.
and Aesop's Fables,
There you go.
and King Arthur and his Knights,
Hey.
and Grimm's Fairy Tales, going through the original stories where you find stuff. Speaking of adaptations, like The Princess and the Frog, a kiss did not actually bring the Frog Prince back to a prince. The Frog Prince himself was kind of a creeper, and the princess was very stuck up, and she ended up picking him up, throwing him across the room up against the wall, and that's when he turned back into a prince, and then they lived happily ever after.
Spoilers.
There was no kiss involved. So finding out interesting original stories like that, you can check that out. I do that Sunday nights on Twitch at 5:30 Pacific, which would be 8:30 Eastern. So
Nice. You can find me at ft_Physical Food Reviews on most social media platforms. A video you should check out. I did a whole video talking about Super Bowl ads, food Super Bowl ads. It was frustrating to edit that. It was fun though. Trying to find clips. It's harder than I could find. At one point, I had a resource where I could find clips like that, and then it went away. I don't know where it went. So, yay me! That was a fun episode to make. What's another videos coming? I guess what I've been drinking on the episode now is Just Works. Luigi's Real Italian Ice. That video will be coming out this coming week. This following week, that video is coming out. That's really all I have going on. And Crad, where can they find you?
Here.
Nice. So yeah, that's another episode. Next week we will have Ricky Pope from the Christian Nerds podcast. You've probably seen one of his memes somewhere. They range from thought-provoking to very funny. He has a bunch of episodes out there. I was watching one of his episodes. He had some guest on there talking about some Christian horror movie, which I found interesting. So stay tuned for that coming out. Not next week, but the week after. So that'll be episode 16. So stay tuned for that. All right. See you guys. Uh-oh. There we go.
good night.
Eat pizza.
Awesome.